Hi everyone, welcome to Sketchman Boris. This is Boris. I'm a teacher, artist, cartoonist, and podcaster. I decided to do this video because I tried to make a tutorial on how to draw someone's face from reference and it failed, at least when I tried to get the symmetry right. So I already sort of knew this, but this just confirmed it, and it's just like I couldn't get the symmetry right. So I think on paper I could do it, and of course in Clip Studio Paint you have the symmetry rule, which I will do another video about. But the point of this video is to talk about weaknesses, or at least the points you need to improve. Okay. So and as you can see from the other pictures, I tried other angles and I am better at them. So I wanted to share some of my thoughts on continuous improvement as an artist. I'm going to do it over a video of me sketching and painting this fitness model. So here we go. So you probably have heard this one before. As an artist, you are constantly learning. So for there to be growth, you need to figure out the things that you need to improve. And as I get better at drawing and painting, I can tell you the list of things I have to get better at keeps getting longer. Okay, so how do you know about the specific points you want to improve or you have to improve? For that, you need to know what kind of artist you want to become, or what kind of artist you are. Okay, how do you know that? For me personally, I know the type of art when I do it and find a great amount of joy in actually seeing the artwork come to life. For some reason, I have been painting recently pin-up art digitally. That seems to give me that sort of joy of just actually creating something and seeing it come to life. There was a moment when I was doing comic strips every day about random ideas, jokes I had in my head. But what I ultimately want to become is a comic book artist, or any kind of art that allows me to tell stories. So I narrowed down my path to becoming a comic book artist, but that doesn't mean that I can't work on other types of art like fan art and so on. You can go check out my Instagram page at sketchman_Boris to see the kinds of art I create. But you need to have one foot firm on a regular type of art you produce, at least in my opinion, and one foot which allows you to get out of that routine. And that balance is important, and that second part where you have fun is as important in my opinion, because that's what keeps you creative, and that's what keeps your creations exciting. Me, for example, I love doing comic strips on a regular basis, but I also record podcasts, I write blogs, I do fan art, etc. You can check all of them on my website, sketchmanboris.com. So, to come back to weaknesses, if you feel like you have a lot of weaknesses, deal with them as you would deal with any other problem. If you look at any problems as big and complex, you will be paralyzed by fear and wouldn't want to do anything about it. So, at least this is how I tackle it. You need to break down the problem into little pieces and tackle them that way. And one way of doing that is by asking why. Say why several times and figuring out the different reasons for that. Let's take an example. You notice that you are not good at shadows, okay? Okay, you need to ask yourself why and look at all the possibilities. Maybe you understand how shadows work, but maybe you need to practice and solidify your knowledge of form instead of focusing on shapes. I started by saying that, to narrow down the type of art you are going to produce on a regular basis, because otherwise you will be lost. You will be faced with too many things you need to work on. And especially in the online era now, like especially, for example, I have that feeling of sometimes I go on Instagram and I just see all this really great artwork, and I just say to myself, like, am I really that? I mean, does it really matter if I create? Because there are so many really great artists out there. But the truth is, yes, it does matter, because you are you, and whatever you are trying to communicate, like your feelings or like whatever you're trying to express, is ultimately you. Like, and only you can do that. No one else can do that for you. So if you feel like drawing, if you feel like writing, if you feel like making music, just do it, and just try to express and be honest, as honest as possible, because that's when actually, and I say honesty because that's when you will touch to the core of what is actually human and not be restricted to any group. Okay, so for example, if you just, let's say you're trying to create anime art, like manga art, like if you just try to communicate your true love for art form such as manga art, and people will like not only manga fans or anime fans will gravitate towards it, but all fans of art and all fans of, and people will feel it, the exact that feeling that you have when you create the art that you're proud of. Actually, that feeling, I believe that the audience will also feel. And I love movies, for example, and the best movies that the movies that I love are made by filmmakers who, like, I could feel their passion in the project, and that sort of makes me want to make movies. So, and hopefully, like, the art you create inspires other people to create art for themselves, right? So express themselves. So and yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to, but if you just if you just look at the weaknesses, there will be so many things, and you will be lost, and you would be not motivated to create. So you need to narrow down. You need to say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy doing. Now, I need to put a lot of time into this so I can become the best I can be, and then people will notice, and you have to. And again, I don't know what your situation is, but you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with others. Like, if you're struggling, you have to talk with people, not only artists. Like, because sometimes people who are not artists can also give you really great advice, because just they're out of the art bubble, right? I mean, I'm not using that in a negative shade, but what I'm saying is that you need to, like, take some time to think about your art. You need to create art, of course, and then you need to also share your art. That doesn't mean that you have to, like, share everything you do, but it's just like, everything you do will not be good. You have to be okay with that. Like, just like stories, every story you write will not be good. Every illustration you make will not be good, or you will not be proud of it. But you have to keep creating, so that if you do 10 drawings and you get 3 great out of it, it's better than no illustration at all, right? So like I said, you need to I started by saying that you need to narrow down the type of art you're going to produce on a regular basis, and for which you want to be known for, and otherwise you'll be lost. You need a certain direction in your progression. You can, of course, practice things that are not directly linked to the type of artwork you would like to be known for, but the things which stop you from creating that kind of art you love should be your priority. Like, so if I take, from my perspective as a comic book artist and as an artist in general, I love drawing dynamic things: humans, plants, animals, organic objects which move. I don't find any joy, or I don't have that rush when I'm drawing static objects like buildings, cars, but as a comic book artist, I need to draw the background. It's an important part of storytelling. So whenever I have time to kill, I always carry my sketchbook with me. So I start to draw things around me, objects, random things like if I'm sitting in a company and there's the lobby, okay, like how does the chairs look like, and so on. So, and what I'm doing is I'm slowly building that memory bank that, so that it becomes easy for me. So. And I wish I did it more often, but what I'm trying to do is to train my brain to draw technical things so that it would become muscle memory at some point. I am working on a challenge video which was inspired from Ahmed Al-Duri's 500 hands challenge, where he basically drew 500 hands. I noticed that, so for example, when it comes to what I consider my weakness is, I notice that most of the likeness I try to achieve when I'm trying to draw from reference gets ruined by my inability to draw eyes. So I'm watching videos on how to draw eyes. I'm going to draw like 50 eyes, meaning from 25 different people. So look out for that. I'll be making a video about that. So the mindset that helps me put some artwork out there and build this body of work, and this is important. As an artist, you need to have a body of work. Because there was a moment when actually I quit my job and then I wanted to become an artist, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I would just introduce myself as cartoonist, and immediately people will ask, "Oh, what have you done?" And like in the beginning, I didn't have anything to show them. So, but then, I started drawing. I started putting stuff out there, and then like now I have my website where I'm still updating it, but it's a simple website with everything I do and everything I love. So, and I send people there because I also use different platforms to create different things, like podcasts on SoundCloud. I do videos on YouTube. I post comic strips on Instagram and webtoons. So so I wanted to everything I do to be in one platform. So I put together the website, and that's great. So for example, now if someone asks me for a portfolio, I don't need to prepare a portfolio or a resume. I could just send them. I created a portfolio page on my website. Again, please go check it out, and if you want to follow, you can also follow. I post contents there as much as I can. It's www.sketchmanboys.com. So, and like I said, so the mindset that helps me put some artwork out there is one that starts with me actually sitting down and drawing. And I think I talked about this in my previous video. Especially in art, if you want to be a musician, sit down and make music. If you want to be a writer, sit down and write. And if you want to become a comic book artist, sit down and make some comics. This is something that I have talked about also in my podcast. So if you're interested in hearing me talk about philosophical ideas, the books I'm reading, my thought process, or just random ideas, look for Art Is Podcast on SoundCloud, and I think it's also on iTunes. So to conclude the video, I would like to thank you for those who are still listening. Keep practicing, define your direction, set your priorities, and if you have the chance to discuss with your artist friends, please do so. And if you don't have artist friends, you can leave your comments here on my channel, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. That was one of my things, everybody talks about community, let's build a community, but I think it is important to build a community. And the great authors do that. They have writing clubs where they get together with friends to actually talk to each other about their experiences, share their struggles and so on, and they grow together. So I think YouTube is supposed to be that, and not just I don't want to put YouTube down, but there is not real, I think, community like mainstream media is on YouTube. I don't know why. I was just listening to Bo Burnham talking about YouTube was supposed to be the people's medium to express themselves, but now the mainstream media isn't there, and I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, so I just want to conclude this by saying, just if you want to leave your comments on the channel, you can. And if you found something valuable in this video, please like, subscribe to let the algorithm know that this is a good channel. that more people need to check out. So this is Boris, the Sketchman Boris, signing off.